Ibrahim Traoré's greatest vulnerability was his family, and his enemies exploited that. One afternoon, his 14-year-old sister, Aminata, vanished on her routine walk home from Imam Malik Middle School in Ouagadougou. That day, at 3:30 p.m., everything seemed ordinary. Aminata shouldered her school bag and clutched her math book, chatting with her friend Fatima under the blazing sun. "We have an exam tomorrow," she said with a bright smile. "As always, my brother will help me study." She set off down the familiar 15-minute route, safe streets, friendly neighbors, the same path she took every day. But by evening, she still hadn't arrived at 4:45 p.m. Ibrahim's mother, Miriam, called him, her voice trembling. "Aminata isn't home yet," she cried. "She's always back by 4:30 and she isn't answering her phone." Ibrahim, in a meeting with the defense minister, felt his heart seize. "Call Mama to activate emergency protocol," he ordered, abandoning the meeting instantly. By 6 p.m., a terrifying picture had emerged. All the school's security cameras failed at 3:25 p.m. Security Chief Mamadou reported, showing blank footage on his tablet. Every camera along Aminata's route went dark at the same moment. This wasn't an accident, it was professional hacking. When Ibrahim demanded to know where his sister's escorts were, Mamadou replied, "The 2 guards assigned to her were found unconscious, drugged." This was coordinated. In that moment, Ibrahim realized this wasn't a simple kidnapping. It was a calculated political assault against him. Yet no one knew how vast the conspiracy truly was. For 3 days, there was only silence, no ransom note, no leaks to Thepres, and no trace of the girl who had disappeared from the face of the earth. Then, in the dead of the 4th night, his private phone rang at 2:30 a.m. The caller ID showed blocked. Ibrahim answered, exhaustion weighing on every word. A cold voice, speaking French, said only, "Ibrahim." When Ibrahim demanded to know who he was, the voice replied, "That's not important. What matters is keeping your sister alive." "What do you want?" Ibrahim asked. "Simple," the voice said. "Revoke the gold mine nationalization decree you signed last month. Cancel your uranium agreement with China. Stop your revolutionary policies on Africa's resources." Ibrahim's fingers drummed on the table. "And if I refuse?" The voice was chillingly calm. "Then your sister will land a very lucrative new position in Amsterdam's underworld. 14 years old, highly marketable. I'm giving you 72 hours. Think carefully." The line went dead. Ibrahim placed the phone down, his head in his hands, helplessness crushing him for the first time. But before despair could take hold, his familiar rage rose like a tide. "No," he whispered. "This time, I'm the hunter." That night, sleep eluded him entirely. He summoned his closest advisor, Security Chief Mamadou, Intelligence Head Khanate, and, most critically, 28-year-old cyber warfare expert Sarah Kamar. "They think my weakness is my family," he told them, his bloodshot eyes burning with resolve. "They don't realize they've attacked all of Africa's children. This will be their greatest mistake." Sarah opened her laptop. "Sir, I've traced the call through 7 countries on the Tor network. The final note is in Switzerland. It's a decoy directing us toward Amsterdam." Khanate added, "Switzerland is ideal for untraceable banking." Mamadou delivered the worst news. In the last 2 years, 73 young women from Burkina Faso have vanished on student visas. Their average age 15. Ibrahim slammed his fist on the table. This is no longer just about Aminata. He paused, steeling himself. What they don't know is that this kidnapping is only the beginning. Ibrahim Traoré's plan to rescue his sister had grown into a meticulously coordinated intelligence operation. Under the cover of ordinary tourists, 18 Special Forces soldiers from Burkina Faso, Ghana, Mali, and Senegal flew into Amsterdam. Meanwhile, back in Ouagadougou, Sarah Kamar's cyber team worked feverishly. They infiltrated the traffickers' network, disabled every camera and alarm system around the warehouse, and mapped out internal layouts using hacked blueprints. By 3:20 a.m., the stage was set. "Alpha Team, secure the rear exit," came the hushed command over the encrypted channel. Moments later, "Bravo Team, you're clear to breach the west corridor on the rooftop nearby." Charlie team prepared for the main assault. Inside the barn-like structure, thermal drones picked out dozens of young figures huddled together. Ibrahim, thousands of miles away in Hiswa room in Ouagadougou, listened on a secure line, his heart pounding as every second stretched into an eternity. 5 nerve-wracking minutes passed before the first confirmation crackled through. Alpha 2. Center first floor clear. 12 girls were found, all alive. Relief washed over the operations commanders. Then Bravo's voice, basement secured. 8 more rescued. Finally, Charlie's triumphant call. Target room reached. Aminata is here. She's unharmed. Tears blurred Ibrahim's vision. His little sister was safe, but they weren't done. Teams converged to detain the traffickers and local accomplices. Meanwhile, Sarah's analysts combed through seized laptops and documents. The deeper they dug, the more they exposed a web of financiers, complicit banks, and shadowy networks providing protection and legitimacy to the trade. By dawn's light, the operation had freed 47 young girls and captured 23 traffickers. More importantly, it unearthed the names and institutions that enabled such atrocities. As the sun rose over Amsterdam's canals, Ibrahim and Aminata stepped out of the secure hangar. She ran into her brother's arms, sobbing, "I was so scared." "Big brother." He gently stroked her hair, whispering, "You're safe now, my little sister. I'll guard you with my life." In that moment, cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions. Standing tall and resolute, Ibrahim raised Aminata's hand before the assembled press and declared, "Today, I did more than save my sister. I liberated 47 children kidnapped from families across Africa, and I'm holding those responsible to account." The global impact was immediate. European authorities launched investigations into trafficking rings, and politicians in France and Belgium faced heated debates over oversight failures. Weeks later, at the African Union Summit, Ibrahim presented his evidence: bank records, shell company filings, communication logs, and challenged every nation. They enslave our children because they covet our resources. By striking at our families, they thought they'd weaken us. Instead, they've ignited a continent-wide resolve to defend every child. Out of that groundswell emerged the African Child Protection Pact, signed by 32 nations committed to cross-border collaboration, tighter visa controls, and victim support programs. Back home, Aminata returned to school, where classmates greeted her as the protected girl. In interviews, she said, "I'm not just a rescued child, I'm a symbol of hope. Because my brother made all of Africa my family." 6 months later, the Aminata Foundation launched, backed by 54 countries, dedicated to finding missing children and dismantling trafficking networks. A year on, at the United Nations, Ibrahim spoke of a world where anyone who harms our children will face justice. Now 16 and excelling in mathematics, Aminata dreams of studying at MIT, but she also carries with her the promise that, sometimes, the darkest trials forge the brightest changes. By targeting what they believed was his greatest weakness, his family, Ibrahim's enemies inadvertently unleashed his greatest strength, transforming one man's anguish into a movement that has reshaped an entire continent.